Well, it's blog time again this week. It's been a few days since the last blog, of course, and still quite quiet on the channel, but I thought I'd have a little catch up over everything that's happened over the past week. Of course, kicking off with the Grand Prix, we had Hockenheim on Sunday. I won't go too much into the races, I'm not doing my race blogs, but a good result again for Nico Rosberg. Obviously Lewis coming up to third, fighting his way through the pack. There was that little incident, of course, with Jenson Button not seeing each other. It's quite a funny little one. We had Bottas, another strong drive for him, and of course Felipe Massa just turning into turn one as if there was nobody there. Felipe doesn't think it's his fault. You know, unfortunately, I would disagree on that one. But it's one of those things, it's a racing incident. We move on. Hungary this weekend, doesn't it come around quick? And then, of course, we've got the summer break as well. Drives of the day, though, you have to say, for me personally, I was very impressed with Daniel Ricciardo and Fernando Alonso. Cracking drives from them. Fernando in particular, what a guy. You know, he's still just taking that car and he's just showing what can be done with it, and he's been really impressive this season. The guy just deserves a race-winning car, there's no doubt about it. He'd be right up there every year, and already there's inklings that it doesn't look good for 2015 for Ferrari as well. So what's Fernando going to do? Well, there's nowhere to go really, is there, at the moment? You've got Red Bull, you've got Mercedes. You know, we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the coming years. And of course, where McLaren will be with Honda power, we have no idea on that. But suffice to say, the car at the moment still needs a lot of work in terms of its aerodynamics. So, German Grand Prix was good fun. Could have done with a bit of rain, but either way, I think one of the things that was lacking was atmosphere. The crowds were very low this year. So I question to our German viewers, why were the crowds so low? I've heard rumours that, I mean, they talked about all this stuff on the internet. There's not enough interactivity on the internet. No, that's not about what you go to the race for anyway. Some people have pointed out ticket prices. That's interesting because ticket prices in Germany have, or in Europe generally, have always been a lot cheaper than they are in the UK. We pay a horrible amount for our Grand Prix tickets over here. So they're slowly catching up with the UK, but I don't know. Maybe it's just ticket prices, but let me know on that one. Elsewhere, I've been busy interviewing one of the developers of MX vs ATV that's coming out very soon. That interview will be up on the channel shortly. I've been playing a fair bit of Assetto Corsa. Of course, the Lotus 98T was released on Assetto Corsa in the recent week. I've been playing it with the triple screens. Did a race with that. How did I feel about it at first? At first, I wasn't too keen on the car. I felt it was inconsistent. I still feel it's a bit inconsistent on the curbs. I think sometimes there's a lack of grip on the curbs that feels, as I say, inconsistent. You suddenly get wheel spin on the curb that comes from nowhere. So I think that's something which, you know, for me, I still haven't found the right balance with. But what was strange is I went from triple screens down to a single screen, and the game just played and handled better. So from now on, most of my Assetto Corsa coverage will be on the single screen. Maybe it's just not well enough optimized for the SLI, I don't know. But either way, it just simply plays better, runs better on the single screen, and I can have all the effects up. I have all my effects off in the triple screen mode to a point that it doesn't look much better than R Factor. So certainly there's some work for the developers to do in terms of optimization. But the car is fun to drive. You'll also see a video coming of the 100% boost as well. Didn't make a huge difference to me personally. You need to be a little bit more delicate when it comes to the gear changes, just to avoid any additional wheel spin. But on the whole, I think you just need to be sensible with your driving, sensible with your braking as well. You can get a lot more sort of drifting into corners. It's something I'd like to experiment more, moving the car around. But either way, I do find it enjoyable to drive, and you will be seeing a few more videos of it on the channel in the coming weeks. So what else have I been doing? Well, there's of course the Crew beta has been released this week. I couldn't get the Crew beta working for the first couple of days. Unfortunately, it doesn't work again with triple screens SLI. Not for me anyway. I've had to disable the SLI to get some videos recorded on the Crew. So again, single view videos on the Crew. So far so good. I just haven't had much time to get into it. It was literally too hot to play it today. It's absolutely roasting in my room right now, and with the PC on today, it was just impossible. It was absolutely boiling while I was playing it. But I do hope to get a bit more Crew footage in. You'll see a little bit on the channel in the next few days. Just a taster really of what the final game will be. but we will have some extensive coverage on the crew on the channel. It was quite funny playing it today because I did an extended drive, and those who have been watching VVV for some years, since Test Drive Unlimited 2, will remember my Sunday drives. Well, more of that will come when we do the crew as well. Just go for a drive in a forest for no reason other than because it's there. And you can expect some of that on the channel as well very soon. Elsewhere in gaming news, I've noticed talk of motorbikes possibly appearing in the next Gran Turismo. That's very interesting. Almost like they're integrating the bikes under the banner of Gran Turismo, and then perhaps if the bike's successful there'll be a new tourist trophy game further down the line. But either way, you can expect amazing modelling, wonderful visuals. Gran Turismo 7 will be very special. But when's it going to hit? 2015, 2016? The jury's still out on that one. We just don't know enough. It really depends on Polyphony, Kazunori, and when he's happy to roll one out the door. But if I was Sony, I would be very keen to get something out the door as soon as possible. Project Cars will suffice for this year, but next year you will want another serious racer, and Gran Turismo would be the perfect solution. Elsewhere, of course, we've seen the new car coming as well, the Alfa Romeo coming for Assetto Corsa, which looks nice, and of course Polyphony apparently re-recording their audio sounds as well. We've also had the British car pack for Grid Autosport released. I'm still enjoying Grid Autosport. In fact, I recorded a video of Grid Autosport around Hockenheim, which was supposed to go up last weekend, which I didn't get around to putting up and commentating. Again, I've just been so busy behind the scenes with so much work going on stuff that it's been tricky just trying to get the time in to edit these videos. And of course we've got a lot to do between now and Gamescom. There'll be a lot to cover at Gamescom as well. I wanted to thank a lot of viewers who wrote to me about supplying video, and it was put to me that I need to organise it a bit in terms of telling you guys where to send it and what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together a future video, hopefully next week, that will talk about what we're looking for in terms of contributors on the channel. If you want to be a regular contributor, what that means, what work is involved in it, and where to send your video clips as well. If you're interested in getting involved with VVV, do let me know. I'll put my email in the description. You know, there's lots of written work which we're always looking to cover on the website. We need writers, we need community people, everything else, because it is hard work and we do want to grow, but there's only so much I can do on my own, and I'm torn in all directions. And of course, as you see at the moment, when I'm busy doing those other things, then it means that there's less time for me to actually work on the videos. Getting there though, that's the main thing. We're making progress and we're getting there. So far so good. And again, thank you for all of that support there. Let's check out the forum. And the first question is from James Robson. What inspired you to begin making YouTube videos? Well, it's a difficult one really, but I suppose I did them initially to support the writing. I was writing tons of content back in 2009. I knew people weren't reading it. 2008, 2009, from 2006 really, I was writing regular content. And then I made a couple of videos and people remarked upon those. I uploaded them onto Facebook actually, and then actually on the old VVV Gamer Facebook page, and people enjoyed them, you know, and I realised that I had access to games that a lot of people didn't have access to. So I came on YouTube, made a few videos, and then it realised it used other experience I had. Many years ago, back in 2003, I presented an old budget TV show called GamerWeb, which was live and unscripted, a bit like this really, but for 3 hours a night and on live TV. That means I could talk to you constantly for 3 hours, never get bored. See, so this is easy, just 10 minutes, 20 minutes, easy for me. So 3 hours playing games, talking about stuff like that. In 2007, I did some X League, which was another TV channel, more esport related. Again, games night, stuff like that, which was an interview show. It was a good experience for me in front of the camera. And of course, I never considered that that would apply to YouTube. I think like a lot of people, you think, how can you create a YouTube channel? There's these big YouTubers out there. They do millions of views. I couldn't possibly compete. But the reality is that everybody's individual. You know, yes, we all have a copy of whatever, the Crew Beta. Everybody's talking about the Crew Beta. But every channel has its own unique element, and that's its presenter, where they're coming from, how they present, what they're talking about. Are they talking rubbish? It does surprise me, don't get me wrong, when I see some channels that do 100 times the views we do on the same racing games, and I think, what's it about this content that's dragging so many people? But the reality is that I'm going to do the things that I like. In a way, I mean, I produce what I like, and I produce what I think people are going to enjoy, and I try to do the multicams. I try to give the information, I suppose give an idea of experience. And so of course for me, that's how I got into YouTube. It was a way to move out of the written content into the video content, use my gaming skills and rambling nonsense skills to a good effect, and I hope you've all enjoyed it along the journey as well. So it's worked out very well for me. Another question here, let's take a look. Dan Corley mentioning about the videos. I've covered that already, but yes, that's something I'm going to lay out on a future video, what we need, what we're looking for, and if people out there want to get involved. Lots of opportunities, going to events, meeting people, getting games early, but it is a lot of work. You need to be dedicated. You need to put out a lot of content on a regular basis, and it is bloody hard work. There's no doubt about that, but it's ultimately rewarding when you make that content and people are watching it and commenting on it. That's the main thing. There's nothing worse than spending hours and hours and hours on a video and it gets next to no views, and you think, oh, it's quite deflating. So that's always something nice about VV, is at least we always have you, the regular viewers, enjoying it. Now we have another question here from Travis, and Travis is asking about my favourite racing games. Goodness, that's a really difficult question. I don't normally tell people my favourite games because I always like to keep a certain neutrality on the site in terms of what I like and what I don't like. To me, everything is just what it is. I'm quite detached from it when I give you guys feedback. I just see these games for what they are. And perhaps that's because I've been in it for a long time, but I'd need to go back in time, to Mario Kart, loved it. But then I suppose then we come to Ridge Racer, Daytona in the arcade when it came out, Sega Rally in the arcade, Ridge Racer on the PlayStation, and probably I played Ridge Racer more than anything ever. I played Ridge Racer 5 a lot on the PS2 when it came out. I played a little bit of Grand Prix Legends, but my PC, I was racing with an old Thrustmaster wheel that had no pedals at the time. My 3DFX card wasn't great keeping up with it all. So the PC gaming for me was just simply too expensive to keep up with during that time, and kind of fell out of it for a very, very long time. I did have another one as well, Ubisoft F1, and of course the Bizarre Creations F1 as well, PGR3. So I would say Ridge Racer, PGR3, have been Forza Motorsport, the first one. Sega Rally, it's difficult. I mean, each one of these games has had hours and hours and hours of play, and they're just eras. That you say that 2 years I played that game, that couple of years I played that game, and so on. And over the years you play many different games, but they're all different styles. I mean, right now I'm enjoying Assetto Corsa, probably the most. Assetto Corsa. I've enjoyed Grid Autosport greatly for what it is. But there's just cars like that Lotus, and even the McLaren 12C on Assetto Corsa. I really enjoy that. There's a certain realism to that car, a certain weight to it that just feels more natural. It feels big, it feels heavy, it feels natural. So many of these games and simulations just lack a certain amount of weight. Lack a certain amount of grip to increase difficulty, and I think they've got it right. And that's always for me a problem with Forza Motorsport. I just don't quite have that tactile feel. The car will spin out and you just feel like a passenger, and you think it just shouldn't be like that. There should be a limit of grip. You should have a fundamental feeling, and so many games don't have that. So it really depends. That's quite a varied question Travis has asked there, but it really depends on the year and the time, whatever's available in terms of the equipment I had as well. But certainly of all time, absolutely, Ridge Racer was something that in 1994, when we saw it running on the PlayStation 1 for the first time, you know, 3D racing game, texture mapping for the first time on a 3D racing game in the home, absolutely incredible. There's nothing that touched Ridge Racer when it came out. You know, we must have watched the demo mode for 2 hours just in amazement when we first saw it running, and everything that's followed since was impacted on by how impressive that was. And that game took the PlayStation to market dominance. You know, that one game impressed the games industry so much. So it can't be underestimated how important that one circuit of Ridge Racer ended up being. So that's those questions. Do feel free to add more to the Alan's Q&A thread, which is linked below this video. So it's been obviously busy at the moment behind the scenes. You know, we're looking for sponsors to grow the site and the marketing backing, and that's important for us because we want to develop what we're doing. I'm going to be talking to some community members very soon about some of the community activity I have planned. And overall, hopefully once this is all in place and we can grow, and as ever, I think when you look on balance at what we've achieved over the last few years, you've seen the content's grown and grown and grown, but expectation has grown as well. You know, YouTube viewers now expect a video every day. It's impossible for me as one person to put that out every day and to retain a certain quality with it as well. So, you know, there's investments that I've made in terms of equipment and everything to improve that viewing experience, but as long as you all enjoy it. Elsewhere, I've been well, I'm having my ramble. I've seen the new Transformers film, I wanted to point out actually, and I was very disappointed by it. I'd love to know what some of you think of it. I thought it was cheesy, with a capital cheese, basically. But I did notice that it was almost a bit of a driving film, and that's why I'm highlighting it, because the neighbour just happened to be Sebastian Loeb, frankly. It's always handy. The way the car jumps off of the top of a building and survives. There's a lot of car advertising in there early on. Lamborghini, they've put a few dollars into that film as well. I think it's probably the most product placement I've ever seen in a film, but the first half did definitely feel like Need for Speed, the movie with robots, but not a good movie at that. And I've seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes as well. You know, it was all right. I'd watch it at the cinema, but I wouldn't buy it. That's always my, would you buy it? So, no, I wouldn't buy it, but it was all right. It was worth seeing. I am looking forward to seeing Guardians of the Galaxy, because people say it's good and it looks pretty cool as well. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing. But that's just my random film chat. I just wanted to put a chat in about something else. I do other things as well. I'm a big film fan. As I say, there's all this sort of general gaming malarkey that I'm always interested in as well. It's not just the racing games, but obviously the racing does take the bulk of my time up. And other than that, that's it really. Lots of planning done for lots of stuff we're hoping to show you later this year. Race this weekend in terms of Hungary. Look forward to that, seeing how we go. Will Lewis be back on winning form there? Quite possibly. Will Kimi Räikkönen end up in second place? Quite possibly. And also, something to point out as well, I just saw the F-Zero F-Zero mod today for Assetto Corsa. Looking pretty cool, but maybe we'll get the chance to show some of that. I don't know. I'll ask if we can show a clip. But that's it from me for now, for my ramble this week, and there'll be more from me very soon.